Yes, that's right. I've got my second, technically third paying customer. There's quite a lot to go over in this video. It's been a while since I made a video, so I think let's just jump straight into it. So quickly, a bit about me. So for the last 4 years, I basically worked as the founding engineer at a boutique financial consultancy in London. I left there at the end of 2023, to build my own apps, freelance, take some time out to relax. That's what I've been doing, and I've been documenting my journey on this YouTube channel. So if you are interested in kind of looking back and seeing what I've been doing for the last couple of months, feel free to just kind of have a look through and binge my videos if you want. Of course, if you don't want to do that, that's also fine. So yeah, I'm freelancing, building my own apps, that type of stuff. And yeah, so this main video is about kind of just an update on kind of the standing for the product Interlu, which I'll give you a quick demo of how it all works. And to say again, I've got my second annual paying SaaS customer. So you can see these 2 Stripe payments, which are really nice to see. And again, the lead came from YouTube, which is really cool. So people that have watched this video or watched my videos have been interested in the product and kind of got in touch and then actually paid. So that's kind of the main update, obviously another paying customer. In terms of what new features have been shipped and what the product is, let's, I think, get into it and I'll give you a quick demo. But essentially, it's a product that lets you search, save, and manage UK companies quickly and easily. And this new feature, which I've released, is kind of this advanced search, where you can see here, you can set a bunch of parameters and then get results. And then also there's a new company profile page, which does a bit more than what we did before. So let me give you a quick demo. Let me just flip around. So this was the original product where you could just search for a company. So let's do like Blue World, which I always do. And you kind of get the results and then you can kind of jump into one and you get everything in line with that, which is quite handy. But, you can't kind of make queries on the bigger database. So, let's say you just want to find companies that have a certain SIC code, that have so many number of employees, etc., etc. You can't do that in this search. So that was kind of the main thing which was being requested by people that were somewhat interested in the product. So now that has been built. So if you go to advanced search, it's all in here. So let's put a query together and hopefully it will work. So let's first select an industry. It's still a bit kind of thrown together, so I've used to have to use Command F to do it. Let's look for architects. Here we go. So you can select these 2 SIC codes. So that's one. Let's look for their year end. Let's say, what is it? We're in July now. So let's say I want to find companies with an August and September year end. Let's say I only want to find companies in London. And let's say that I want them to be active. And let's say I want them to be incorporated. So the company formed, let's say, before 2020. So they're going to be after 2020. So these will be quite new companies. So now I can hit search and boom, there we go. So we've got 326 companies and you can essentially just go through and select ones. Let's go for, when was this one? 2nd of August. And you just go in and now we've got their company profile page, which is also new. It's kind of got lots of the data from the old feature, the generic search, but it's just kind of, I think, a bit nicer. And especially when you kind of go back and forth from this page to that, it kind of makes it feel a bit nicer. So yeah, we've got the basic company overview and then we go into their directors. This was a requested feature, finding their gender. So we use a bit of like an OpenAI integration with one of their LLMs, and we just kind of give the name and say, can you guess the gender? And it does a really good job at that. So yeah, we get their directors' names, and I've also added this kind of hacky way to get their profile on LinkedIn. So if they do have a profile, I'm guessing age 30, an architect, we should be able to find it. So if you click that, it should go to his profile. David. No, so that hasn't worked, but I'll show you one that does work later, because actually linking with LinkedIn is like a massive job in itself. So that was quite a nice little workaround to do. So you've got overview, you've got this detail. We go to filings, very similar to how the original product was set up, where you kind of toggle, go into a certain document and read it, which is quite handy. Directors is the slightly new page where you kind of see a breakdown of particularly the diversity and then the age and tenure insights. There's a few UI elements that need to be updated and improved in here, but it's still nicer than I think that we had before. Periods, again, the classic feature, which the Interlu was kind of first built for, that's still in here. And then if they have any accounts with employee staff, that will then load up in here as well. So those are the new pages. If I show you, this might take a little bit of time because we're having to process documents. let me just show you again kind of the other features as well. So we've still got saved, where you can save companies. Let's say I wanted to look at this one here, so Plume Limited. I can open them up here, and now Focus moves them straight into this company profile page, which is quite handy. And I know for sure Plume have some employee data. There we go, which is quite nice. So you can see that coming in, and then you can toggle the annual wage bill and see that in there as well. So I think the product has definitely improved since the last episode or last video I've made. Obviously, we've got paying customers now, and I think it's one of those, steps where I feel you kind of have to kind of make this, kind of talk to customers, figure out what they want, and then slowly kind of build it. And just kind of make the product better over time with the customer's actual involvement. But I think having 2 paying customers now for this product is like a really strong validation, especially because, well, I'll get into it, they've requested features which kind of are still in development, but they were willing to pay and then wait, which is just an amazing thing that's happening with this product, which I'm super proud of. So again, we've got history. It kind of goes over all your searches. You can follow companies as well. So let's say if I go back to search and let's go to Blue World again, you can follow them, and then basically you get a notification for all filings, or if you just want to know when they file their accounts, you get an email, or if they change one of their directors, you get an email. So you can kind of, basically follow companies and get live updates. So that's the product. You've got the demo. You've seen now the advanced search, which is really handy. It's definitely a lot better than it was before. Okay, so you might be thinking now, so kind of what's my focus? So, as I mentioned, obviously we've got some paying customers. They've requested some features, and all of the features really rely on or are essentially in the context of querying those 6 million UK companies we've got on our database. So it's quite a thick job, or not a big job, handling those requests and making kind of the queries actually doable and workable on our database. That's what I'm working on. I don't want to share the parameters I'm adding, because I think that's kind of maybe a bit of a trade secret, maybe, I don't know. But there are mainly 5 query parameters that I'll be adding very soon for the paying customers, which is really cool. And then plus, I still need to add analytics. I haven't added segment mix panel, and that's just something I need to do. I'm not proud of. And then there's also been some visual feedback from one of the users, which I'll get done as well before moving on to what I have below. So that's kind of my focus. So new feature, the advanced search feature is out. There's a bunch of features which need to cut. There's a bunch of requested features which I'm working on. So that's kind of what my focus will be for Interlu, delivering those requested features to my customers, and just kind of working with them to make Interlu the best product possible. Now, quickly, I've got a new chair thanks to FlexiSpot. So before, I was using this kind of really old IKEA chair, which was okay, but it just kind of, I knew for someone like me who sits at the desk, at my desk for, pretty much every day for a really long time, having an ergonomic chair is super important. So thankfully, FlexiSpot sorted me out with this kind of chair I'm sitting on now, which you can see. It is the C7 Air Premium Ergonomic Office Chair. So I'm very glad to have it. When it arrived, it didn't take too long to put together, and they provided everything needed in the box. So you didn't need to kind of have any like tools, etc. You could do everything yourself. And I built it within maybe like an hour, which was quite good. So yeah, some notable features which I think are really handy is it's like a self-adaptive lumbar support. So basically, like, it detects subtle changes in your posture and adjusts itself as you move around to ensure like it kind of got constant support. I think it's really good. It's also like really cool. You can kind of lean back. I don't know if I can show you now, but I'm sure there'll be like an overlay video. You can lean back and kind of, it's just super, super comfy. And I was actually surprised at how comfortable it actually was. You've got the neck rest, you've got everything. And what's really nice is everything's kind of adjustable, and you can fix it into position. So wherever you are, or however you want it, it can, kind of support you and be right for you. I think it can hold up to 300 pounds and kind of is right for anyone from 5'4" all the way to 6'2". So, the chair is kind of ready for you basically. Now, if this doesn't suit you, they do offer an integrated ergonomic chair called the C5. I think I've got it here for, I think it's a little bit less, just over $200. But all of the links will be down in the description if you're interested. I think it's a really super good chair, and I'm thankful I've got it now, as long with my now obviously standing desk from FlexiSpot as well. They've sorted me out, which is really good. Now, if you're curious, I actually have the E7 standing desk from FlexiSpot. again, it was actually really simple to put together. They have a really great online tutorial, and also, it comes with a guide as well. Having a standing desk is actually really great, especially if you spend a lot of time at a desk. For me, when I'm having meetings, I always put it to a standing position. It basically just helps break up my day, and I think I just feel better and more productive because of that as well. One thing I was surprised about was how stable the desk actually is, especially for the price. I think most standing desks in general don't look stable, but I can confirm this one really is. And I think it's quite important for me as, I have expensive equipment on this desk, and then literally having a glass of water or a drink on the desk while moving it up and down, if that were to fall over, it would not be good. So I think it's really important that, it is stable, which is nice. Now, both these items have a 30-day free return along with a 10-year warranty. I think those things are really important to see and have. I think it just kind of confirms that you're buying a quality product. And finally, the link to both my chair and desk will be in the description, along with coupon codes for some money off. So if you're in the market for a new chair or desk, please do check them out. Okay, so coming back to once I've delivered those query parameters, there are some kind of things I want to kind of just touch on. So one thing I think that's really important is obviously I think the product is more and more becoming the data, not necessarily the nice UI. And I think I'm seeing that kind of looking now at competitors, why they've kind of gone down that path of just kind of focusing on kind of making the data as good as possible, because obviously that's what people are actually interested in, not necessarily making the user interface, beautiful. So I think for me, it's ensuring the database and those features which I will be providing to my customers are always up to date, because obviously data changes, companies change. The UK Companies House API offer a streaming service, so you can obviously, now I've got a bulk 6 million companies per database. You can basically subscribe to a stream and you get basically all of the updates live. And then you can handle those updates and then update your database. And so basically it's always up to date. And then I think that's where a lot of work will come in, where you kind of got those 6 million kind of data companies. You've got all these queries which are like custom data on those companies, and you want to make sure those queries can always run well and are always like up to date. Because obviously if you provide the wrong data to a customer, it's not kind of good, is it? So I think once I have navigated those query parameters, made sure the database is always up to date, I'm going to try and focus on getting more customers. I think at that point, the product will be at a really good point and way more marketable than it was before. And finally, obviously the price is $337 now. I'm going to up that to $674 per year per user once we reach 5 customers. So there's only 3 to go. So if you are interested in securing a spot for Interlu at the current price point, and it'll be like that will be the price you'll pay forever annually, feel free to pay on the website. Obviously, if you're not interested, that's also fine. But yes, that is there, and I'll be upping the price. I think the price point, it's interesting price point, because I think there are lots of our competitors out there that charge 10k, 5k a year for one person to have access. So I think this is still a really low price, but obviously people using the product aren't going to be getting a polished product. So I think that's why it's nice to have a lower price point, because the customer knows, okay, I'm getting a great deal, but they also have lower expectations, but also are happy to get involved in making the product better. So there's kind of this really weird kind of balance you have to find. But yeah, once I hit 5 customers, the price will be going up. And finally, just to recap basically, so total revenue for Interlu has been about £750, so about $1,000. Total paying users 3, and the current monthly recurring revenue technically is about £56 or $70, which is again really small, but it is better than where we were a few months ago. So I'm really happy with the progress. We've got loads of requested features, and we've also got loads of feedback, so there's lots to get on with. And I'm also very busy with client work, which is always good as well, because obviously you've got to pay the bills. And then finally, kind of just a point, I'm actually joining a bigger project at the beginning of August, so I won't be actually dealing or doing as much freelancing as I have in the past. So that would be quite nice. I can't tell you too much about that yet, but I hopefully can tell you more soon. Okay, that's been the ramble. That's kind of the update. I've got one final point. Now this, if you watch the end of the video, I appreciate your time. I've got a bit of a treat or something that could be interesting to you, or you could be interested in if you are a product person. You see yourself as like, you can design, you can build, and you want to get into that space. And I think one thing for me, I think about a lot is my first job, or kind of my first gig working in tech, and working at like a super early stage startup, I think was super helpful, because you get exposed to everything. And this job at one of my friend's companies, it is going to offer that. So I think, it's a full-time role, which is remote or in office if you're based in London. As I said, it's a very early stage startup. It's a good fit if you want to get your hands dirty and make a significant impact. Happy to be involved in design and development. And there is also the opportunity for a percentage of equity, so you can have some ownership in the company. So again, as I mentioned, this is very similar to my first gig, which I had, which I feel like I learned so much and can owe a lot of what I can do today for that job. And I think it kind of comes back to also, the product I've got on my website, which kind of my guide to becoming a software engineer is like, if you can get paid to learn and be in an early stage startup, I think that's like the best place to be. Obviously, that's my opinion. You might want to be working at a bigger company where you can be kind of guided a bit more. But I think if you are one of those people that can build, design, are eager to get their hands dirty, it could all fail, but you're still going to get paid. I think this would be a really great opportunity for you. So if you're interested in this, feel free to pop me an email at info@jacobsutton.co.uk. My email will be linked in the description. And just send across your CV, and then I'll review it and then forward it on to them. And then obviously they'll get in touch in due course. But just wanted to say this job is available. It's very familiar. It's very similar to what my first job was. And I'm excited for one of you guys who might have the opportunity to do this. I can't give too much detail about what the company's doing, but you will get the down low in the interview, or if there's like a chat or whatever the next stage is after this. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I feel like it's always great sharing these videos because it's also good for me to be able to look back on in a few months' time and get an idea of where I was at. So very busy, got lots of work to do, customers to, features to deliver to customers, and does feel good to say that, features to be delivered to customers. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate your time. Hopefully I will see you on my next video. Thank you.